Everyone. My name is Fadeline Cherilus, and I am an admin at Grace Home Care FL and also Grace Training Center.
Diversified Game. Learn how to start, run, and sustain your business.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, we have Miss Fadeline. She's going to give us the game on Grace Home Care here in Palm Beach County. And before we start, she is an E2C graduate. We were in the same class together where somebody over, her name was interesting to her, which was interesting because this was another immigrant who was having trouble with her name for a couple of weeks. But her son has also been on the platform, Prince Miles. You guys might recognize him. And he actually did a photo shoot for me. So one thing I know about her is she's about her business, she's about her family, and she's about taking care of the community. Welcome to the show, my dear. How are you doing?
I am great. And I thank you for allowing me to be here. I am awesome.
All right. You see how I didn't say a name? I didn't want to out the person because
My name is Fadeline.
Yeah, yes. So tell us, home care, but you do so many things. I want to get into the money real quick because we have a 2 million nurse shortage. And I know just in home care, people are needing this service more than ever post-pandemic. For the people who say, I just want to know about the money, can you tell them how quick they can, through your company, get licensed, what type of licensing they can get, and how much money they can get?
To the training center, they can get a license within 2 weeks. After 2 weeks of the training, and they can get certified, take the state exam and pass it, and then they can get a license. So we would say anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks, they can have a license where they can become a certified nursing assistant.
And with that, what are the ranges? And do they have to touch blood and poop to have that position? Because that's the number one thing people say. I don't like blood, but they must like bro.
Well, what it is, it depends on where you work. It really depends because you don't really have to do blood, but sometimes if you work in a nursing home, nursing home where you deal with a lot of adults who doesn't have control over, what they do. And some of them they'll let you know what's going on and you can help them. But some of them, they're not even aware of that. So basically, if you work in a nursing home, most likely you will deal with that. But it just depends. When you have your license, you can pick and choose where you want to work. So it just depends where you work.
Okay, what position does not allow, or you don't have to worry about changing somebody or maybe someone's blood? Like, is that companion care, or where would they be working?
Well, a companion care would be someone who goes to somebody's house, or in a facility also you can do a companion. But at the same time, if you go in a facility, like let's say if you're in the management, if you work in the office, you don't have to do any of that.
Okay, so the getting in the office and not being at a nursing home or probably a hospital, just some other type of facility, that's I want to make it clear for the people. That's the number one thing that we hear, what people don't want to do while looking for a job in healthcare.
Most likely some of them gonna be in the hospital too, because in the hospital it depends what floor where you at, because sometimes it's someone who's just in the hospital. Let's say if you work in like department where you have to deal with like babies, like mummies and stuff like that, someone who just gave birth, or if you're in the department where somebody just had a surgery and things like that. It just depends. You can be in the hospital and still you don't have to deal with any poop or anything. It just depends on where, in the hospital that you are. So that means you can be responsible. But if you're working in something like some kind of like ICU or something like that, then the person doesn't have a lot of control. They're not really awake, that anything can happen. But it really depends on where you work. So basically, if you know what your preference is, if you know what you're able to tolerate, what you're not able to tolerate, then at that point, you decided where you want to work.
And give us ranges of that salary, if you don't mind.
It depends, because it can go anywhere between, I would say anywhere between $17 to $22 an hour. Yeah.
Okay. And you know, when people do their Google search, sometimes they see
Mhm.
11 or 15 and they
No,
say,
no, no, no,
I'm
no.
good.
It's not. No, no. Those years are over. No, it's not. It's not nowhere there. No, those years are really absolutely over.
Okay, okay. And and I'll tell you, and I'll tell the audience that you never know when you're gonna have to deal with an extra task. I was a supervisor at an acute residential program, a step down
Hmm.
program for a psych hospital. And the
Hmm.
day that they told me they wanted me to do a stool test with the 17-year-old boy was the
Oh,
day I was willing to walk away from my job because I said, I'm not going to the bathroom with that 17-year-old able bodied boy. I told him, and he was smiling about the whole thing because I was making it a big deal. I gave him his stool test. You handle that. I'm not going in there. So you guys just never know, but you have to be willing to do the job that the employer wants or be willing to walk away. I just wanted to give them that tip because this is, you know, it's healthcare. Now, tell the people how and why did you get in this industry? Give them your journey. How did you start? How did you, you know, sustain?
actually, my first degree is an engineer. That's what I have. Okay, but when I moved from New York to here, and I remember that I had a son, and I couldn't find a job down here. Most of my job that I was finding was up north, and I realized I had a son, and I didn't have any family up north, so I wouldn't go up north. So I chose to stay here. I got a job in a security company. Once I got the job in the security company, I remember one day I was at the gate, and there was a nurse that pulled over in the gate that wanted to go to see a client. And then I come out and then I look at her and I smile. And she was like, "Oh my God, you must be new." I said, "Yes, I am." She said, "I've been coming to this gate for many, 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 many months. The gate officer in here had never smiled to me." And then so from there we were having a conversation, but I was just doing the security and everything. And then I just got here from New York, so that's how I started. Then one day she comes to me and she said, "Listen, I have a job for you." And I said, "Really? What's that?" She said, "I have a next door neighbor. She just had a stroke, and her children are not down here, they're up north. So they called me to help. But I have a job and I can't." And she said, "I know, I mean, from talking to you, I know you're a good person. You'll be a great person for that job." I said, "Really?" I said, "But I'm not a CNA or a nurse or anything like that." She said, "That's fine. You can do it. You have the heart to do it." And then she talked to the family, and then she arranged a meeting, and then I go meet with them. And then from that, I have a private case. So that private case was paying me about $5 to $6 different than what I was making as the security. So I left that job and I start this. And then I was doing it. And then it gets to the point where I really feel good doing it. I was really happy. I was really doing it. And I felt like, I was really happy. I was happy to help the client. I was happy when the client was feeling better after giving her a shower and she was telling me how good she felt. And that makes me feel really good. And then I come home and I'm like, I'm start thinking, I'm like, maybe this field is for me. So I said, you know what? I don't know. So I said, I'm just gonna go for the CNA certification. And I went and took it for a weekend. And then I took it for the weekend, which is like the 3 days weekend class. I took it. And then I went for my state exam. I passed it. I have my license. So now, once the family, after years, the family take her and put her in a home. So now she's in a home. So now I said, you know what? I got to start looking for a job. So I went to look for working as the certified CNA assistant. So I start working there. Then I realized that I really, really liked the job. That's when I decided, you know what? I go register and go back to college. I went to Palm Beach State, and that's when I got my nursing degree. And then that's when I become a nurse. Yeah.
So you got, with your engineering degree, were you
Mhm.
ever able to use that? Because so many students are in college for engineering and they never get their first job in that.
I have never worked personally. I've never worked with it, but I only use it for my own personal reason, my own personal, like personal, for just personal, and that's it. But I've never worked in a company or anything like that. No.
So would you recommend the 17-year-old or the 21-year-old now listening? Is it better to get a skill than spend all that time doing engineering? And why do you think that is that you never got that job? I need it on record.
I don't really know why. It's like I said, when I just moved from New York, I just came down here. Most of the job that I could find was up north. And I had a son at that time. I was not able to go to a brand new place that I have no family, no loved ones, nothing. So I was not able to do that. Maybe if somebody's single and they're young and they're able to travel, then they might work for them. But for me, it didn't, because I was not able, because I wanted to be around family, around someone that if I have somewhere to go that can watch over my son. And my son was really young at that time. My son was about 3 to 4 years old. So I was not able to do that. But that's all. But what I'm saying is that a lot of time we just go on the field just because of the name of the title, or because of we heard people make that much money, but we don't really go in the field because we really, really like it. Like nursing, I love it. So I really loved it. So it's just for me, I'm living my dream because I'm doing what I love to do.
Okay. And when you decided to go to Palm Beach State College, what did you major in?
I went for nursing and I started taking my prerequisite and got into the program and graduated and stuff. Yeah, that's where I went. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And because, there's so many different levels of nurses, and people sometimes get caught in, well, how far do I have to go to make a good amount of money? But here you are as an entrepreneur now. Talk about how you go from nurse to saying, you know what, I want to have a business and impact even more lives.
Well, actually, I remember when I was finishing everything and I was working and COVID come out. When COVID come out, it's like most places for you to work, you would have to take the vaccine. You would have to be vaccinated. And a lot of places, that's what they wanted. And then at that time, I was not willing. It wasn't in my mind. It's something that I wanted to do. So I kind of wanted to do it in my own terms, kind of, not because someone told me I have to do it. So at that point, I felt like I didn't want to do it. And then I said, okay. So I was kind of not working for a while. I was home. So while I was home, I was being creative and looking for things that I can do. And that's when the home care come along. And I start the process. Make calls. I do, call people that I need to call. I do research and things like that and put it together. And that's when I got into a business of home care. And then when I got into a business for home care, after a few years later, I noticed that we're having a lot of problems as a home care owner. We're having a lot of problem having good aid. Sometimes you hired someone, you go to all the process of hiring and interviewing and everything. But sometimes when you really have the case, you call the person, I'm not available. I can't do this. I can't go there. Oh, I don't have, I can't. Or sometimes they decided they took the case, they go and either they late or they don't show up, or sometimes they just go there and they don't do what really they supposed to do. And that become a problem. And me and a lot of other like homeowner saying the same thing. So I realized, I said, you know what, maybe I can help my like agency. And I decided, you know what, if I open a training center, that right there, I will train them. So I know for sure those people, they are trained, they know what required of them, they know what the license stand for, and they know what, if they do, they can lose the license and things like that. So we put it together, me and my staff, we put it together, and I could say about 2.5 years later, we opened a training center. And so far, the training center is doing pretty good. We have a lot of nurses who get certified, who went and get the state exam and pass, and they become a nurse, like a certified nursing assistant. And I'm loving it right now. And a lot of them, I use them for my own agency.
Now, I need you to go back to who was your first hire. And when you created this business and then you say you're going to hire people, was it just all out of savings? Was there some type of grant or loan? People need to know that it's possible, and how.
Okay, my first hired I could say it was me. but but my first hired was one of my cousins. She was related to me. But I said cousin because we were in the same field. We become a CNA together, and she was related to me, and I noticed that she needed a job. I remember when I first got my first client, so I had to work for certain times, and then so I didn't have the money like that. So I was doing the day shift and she was doing the night shift.
Wow. And was it all out of your personal savings?
It was all personal. It was not loan, it was not grant, it was any of that. It was all of my personal savings, all of it.
And
I
if
got into the business. I had to use my saving. And I remember my husband was not too thrilled about it. because he was saying, at this time, COVID is around. We don't know when we're going to get back to work. You don't know how this is going to turn out. He was not happy about it. But I get to a point where I was not taking a no for an answer. I said, you know what? I'm going to try it, and I'm going to do everything that I can. I'm going to put my all into it, and I believe it's going to work. And it did.
And tell people who are inspiring, they might be in Kentucky right now and saying, oh, well, she had 100,000 saved so she could do that. Where would somebody need to start to be able to, start this type of business? Because it needs to be realistic and they need to hear like real numbers.
Actually, when I started this business, I started with my credit card. That's what I started with. Every little thing that I started to do, I started charging on my card. I had a credit card at that time and I was using it. I was using it for my logo, for my website. I was using it for creating like anything that I needed to create it at the time. And I had a mentor at that time who was helping me with all the paperwork. I used my credit card to pay her. I was doing all that. So basically, when I come to the point of having to pay for my license, that I had to send a check. So those was out of my saving. The majority of my fund was coming from a credit card.
You really, really got it out the mud, is what the kids would say, and made it happen. And you have all this going on. You've been successful. You've been able to keep the doors open. You've been able to expand. You've been able to hire even more family, including your son, at times, and he's an instructor, I believe.
Yes.
What about your husband when he was mad? Has he come back to say, wow, you were right? And is he working for the company or is he still doing his own thing?
In 2021, when I really got my license, when I get my home care license, he looks at me and he said, you know what, I am sorry. He apologized to me. He said, I am sorry, because if it were, if you had listened to me, none of this would have happened. Because I didn't believe it. I didn't see it. But the thing about it, sometimes you have to understand, when you have a vision, the vision is all yours. It's not somebody else's vision. It's your vision. So you have a certain way of seeing things. But one thing you have to really know, when you have a vision, you got to really be sure about your vision. If you're not sure about it, then that's a problem, because anybody else can take it and change it and everything. But if you're sure about your vision, then you need to do what you need to do. Because even if somebody don't believe in it at the time, that for me, that was motivation for me to push more, because I know it's my vision. I know it's going to come to pass. But I know the fact that my son and my husband was not really a big believer. So I know I have to do extra. I have to push harder than anybody else to make sure it works. So that kind of gives me a motivation. I use them as a motivation for me.
I do the same thing. And throughout my, 20 plus years, I know my wife, when we were in university, I do the same thing with anybody around me who's really close, because you don't have to get it. But now we're going to segue, because here you are, strong woman, doing business, married, child. There's a whole community out there on YouTube, online, that talks about relationships all day, and they ain't been married not even a day. You also have something for, couples or even singles to get their mind and their spirits right as a believer of Jesus. Talk about that, what you do, because we got to cover it all. We got to get all your talents and skills.
As a believer, and also as a coach, because I also have a title of coaching also. So for me, prayer is everything for me. I prayed about anything and everything. Even when even in my business, even the name of my business, I pray about it. I have many names down, and then I pray about which one, and whatever the one that my spirit is really focused on, and that's the one I go to. So prayer for me is therapy. I mean, I love it. It works for me. It really works. It depends on how you see it, the level of belief that you have in it. So for me, since I was a baby, since I was born, I mean, I was born in a Christian community. My mom, my dad, my grandmother, it's like the whole family. So it kind of stays in the family for me. Anything, and anytime I'm going through whatever I'm going through, I will always put God. One thing I always says, God, I say, I can't fail, because the reason I can't fail is I'm not doing it for me. So if I fail, then that's on you. And I know you can't fail, so.
Okay. Well, and tell more about those services, and where people can find out more, because I really want to get a little messy, because I meant to say what I said about, people talking about relationships, and they'll even try to tell you as a married person, some
Okay,
advice.
services. If I want to
Yeah.
talk about service that we offer in the training center, we offer service like CNA, which is how to become a certified nursing assistant. And also in the month of July, we're going to start having the service for HHA, which is home health aid. HHA, the difference between HHA and CNA. CNA is like you take a license, you get a license by the state of Florida or whichever state that you in. The HHA, you get a certification, meaning that you go to a training and then they give you a certification that say you're certified. I am a CPR instructor, certified with American Heart Association. So we do CPR, we do BLS, we do PALS, we do ACLS, and also we are phlebotomy. We offer a phlebotomy class, like sucking the blood. We are vampires sometimes. We do that also. And also other classes that we're planning and offer in the future. We have EKG coming up. So that class, we don't have a date for it yet, but we're working on getting those classes together. Yeah.
Okay, what about for the relationships?
For the relationship, what do we gonna talk about relationship? I believe in a relationship. It's like it's a two-part. And sometimes when you're in a relationship, you have to understand you can't be too selfish in a relationship because you're not the only one in a relationship. You're not solo, you're not alone. It's a two people. I would say it's a two people game. So if you are in a relationship where everything is like you the center, everything is all about you, there's a problem. And if it's all about the other person, there's a problem. It has to be neutral. It has to be some time where you're willing to say, okay, you know what, I'll listen or I'll just go with what you say. And then sometimes it has to reverse. I have to be in a relationship with someone that I feel comfortable to talk to. I'm not saying that you're gonna like everything I said. I'm not saying you're gonna agree with me in every part, but just listen. Sometimes the person needs just the listening, just the ears. I mean, sometimes they need the mouth. Sometimes it's just the ears that they need. So you have to understand when it's the ears and when it's the mouth. And whatever you do, if you pick this person as your partner, as your husband, or someone you see yourself spending the rest of your life with, then you gotta respect that. And you gotta know, no matter how mad you are, we human. If we're gonna be honest with ourselves, there's gonna be a time where you don't where you said, you know what, I have enough, I'm done, I'm this. But at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself that question. Do I still want this person as my wife or as my husband? Is he still going to remain that? If he's still going to be my wife, no matter what I'm going through, I still have to remember that. I can't go too far ahead because I still have to stay with this person. This person's still going to be my husband or still going to be my wife, no matter how upset I am. And sometimes we just don't think about that because we feel like we're upset at this moment and we don't have a time to think about it. And one thing I always believe, our words mean, so much. Sometimes we don't really realize that when we say things, it has weight. So meaning that there's things that you can say to someone and you can say a million I'm sorry. It's not gonna take it away.
That's real. That's real. So you saying them Haitian girls have a mean streak? What?
We all do. We all do.
Well, talk about, we've had in this county alone in South Florida, so many Haitian immigrants come and they've come up to me looking for a job, and I've bothered everybody that I can. Is this something that a new Haitian immigrant that can come? Because I know paperwork is a big thing, but countries, especially America, always have loopholes sometimes, especially when they need you. So is this something that somebody can benefit off if they just came over now?
Absolutely. We do. We have a lot of Haitian that comes in. A lot of them just recently comes in from Haiti and then or comes in from any other country. And then the great thing about us is that we speak same language that they do. So meaning that if they come, let's say they come to take a training. So the fact that we can expose it in English, but we can break it down in their own native language, which is Creole. And that is my native language. So we speak Creole, so we're able to help them understand it. So it's basically a lot better for them because if they go someplace where they don't speak Creole at all, so if they lost, then they lost. If they didn't get it, then they didn't get it. because there's no one there to really explain it to them. But with us, the difference is we do like have the class in English, but at the same time, everyone that does not understand, or if they don't understand, then they ask us question. We explain it to them in Creole. And when we do that, they get it.
And is there any way that someone can take the state exam in Spanish or in Creole, since English is not an official language of America?
They allowed to take it in Spanish, but not in Creole. But in Creole, they're not allowed to take it in Creole. But one thing I noticed, because I have few of my Haitians that comes in, then they take the state exam and they pass it. And some of them have been only being here in this country for like about 3 months, 4 months, and they still end up passing. I mean, with the state exam, it's not too much of a speaking. It's more of understanding. Okay, because the thing about it is that it's like with the CNA exam, you have 60 questions and you have 90 minutes to answer that 60 questions. And then the score to pass to get your exam is 76. So you got to score 76. That tells you got to have 38 questions. You got to have 38 questions right in order to pass to get your license. So let's say when they give you the little scenario that they give you the answer choices, which is A, B, C, D. That means the answer is there. Even if you don't speak, as long as you can understand what the scenario is saying, you read it and you're able to understand it, then you can grasp from looking at the answer. If you understand what the question is asking you, then you can get your answer. Even if you don't really speak English, you just got to really understand. If you can understand, if you can read it and you can understand it, even if your English, because some people, they're not able to communicate well, but they can still read it and they can still understand it. So it's really basically more of understanding than speaking.
Hello everyone, join us on an exciting journey with Explore the World Cameroon. London and Sydney go take you explore Cameroon, the heart of Africa. Experience the vibrant culture, nature and traditions from Yaoundé market to rainforest adventures. Every page na new discovery. Join the Cameroonian food, music and wildlife with our explorers. This book na true celebration of Cameroon spirit. Get your copy now. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and through your library and bookstores via Ingram's Park. Don't miss this adventure.
Now, what's your biggest, testimony or salary that you've heard? Because again, people need money. This place is not getting any cheaper. But people want to hear, what's the most you've ever heard of a CNA or an HSA person making?
Well, it depends, because I have a CNA. She's a Black American. She just got a case recently, but that case, she didn't get it. Actually, from what she was telling us, she got the case, but the family likes her a lot. So she got the case privately. She's making $25 an hour and she's working 7 days a week. But now she calls us. She said she wants somebody to come over that can work a few days, so the day that she's off, and the person can take over. So those things happen, but they're not something that happen like every time, but they do happen. I mean, that's the most I've seen they make. But at the same time, like I said, it depends where you work.
Okay. Man, if she's making 25, whoever's listening and wants that, she'll give you 17. So then she can still make some money. Now she's a staffing agency. That's how my mind works. Tell them.
Honestly, that is absolutely true, because she called us and she said, Miss Faye, hey, listen, if you send me somebody, I'll pay them 18, and that's more than they make any place else. And she said, you only the one who knows how much I'm making. You can't tell them. I said, trust me, your secret is safe with me. I won't say a word.
Yeah. Besides this podcast, there's a secret to say. We didn't say your name, so it's all good. But that's why you listen to this podcast, people, so you can get game that you can't get anywhere else. Now, let the people know a community give back. I mean, we talked about the Haitians coming over, but a community give back that you're doing or that you would like to do in the future. Because I know you have a big heart.
Well, one thing that I definitely plan on doing is definitely have like a community where people can come in, like once, they can come in where they can do a lot of things here. Like some of that, I know a lot of people Sometimes they go down to the place where they go to the unemployment, or they go to the place for the food stamp place. A lot of time they can't find someone who really speak Creole. And sometimes they standing on the line, they just waiting, hoping another person in the line speak English that can help them out. So in my mindset, one of these days, I want to be able to have a training center, like a center where those people can come for like the food stamp, like the government help if they want to do the application, and they can come in here and we can help them to do the application. If they want to do a GED, like night classes, they can come in here to get the GED, to get the English and everything. That's the future. That's what we're working on in the future.
All right, you write the vision down, make it plain, then share it with the community and see how we all can support. This is a busy woman. So you guys, I waited for this interview because her phone just does not stop ringing. But I want them to know where to go. But I also want them to know you don't necessarily have to be looking for a job. I'm even considering going through you because there's some things in Africa that I want to do, and I want to make sure we don't hurt or kill anybody. But you guys, make sure you tap in. You can do this even online now. And I believe the price right now was $500. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's correct.
So there's your commercial right there. See, I could become a CNA and then just do commercials. I did it. You can do
absolutely.
It too.
Absolutely, because we do have some people sometimes who can't come to class. Either they schedule, because our schedule is Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 1 or 2 the most. And then afternoon, we have a class that's from 4 to 8. So Monday to Friday. So sometimes we have people that either works from the time that they work, let's say somebody has to be at work from 11 to 6. That person can't take our class, but they can go online and register online and do the program online. And then when they feel they're ready, and they can register to be tested for the state exam.
And are they going through a course, or are they seeing the class that they would have been in, or a past class?
Well, actually, we have the course. We have the online course where they see all the videos for all the 21 skills that Florida required. And also they have questions. They can, practice the questions for the part of the written part. So they can do both. And then it's on their own, like their own time. Some of them, they might say, okay, I want to take a month to do this, 2 months to do this. It's really up to them. And whenever they're ready, then they can take the state exam, register for it.
And you don't have to be great in math. You can be a dyslexic, you can have ADHD, and you've seen people still pass, correct?
Actually, you don't need any of this. You don't even need a high school diploma or nothing like that. No.
And you can have a criminal record as well?
With the criminal record, it would depend, because it depends on how long, it depends on what it was. And then so at that point, what you can do is you can do a background check, and you can call the office, and then the office that issued a license for the certification for your CNAs, and they will tell you if you're able to sit for the state exam or not.
Okay, and most of you will be able to sit for the state exam.
And I've seen someone who had the issue, but it depends if it's a minor, if it's something that's been over 7 years or whatever. So sometimes you call them and they let you know what you needed to do to clear it up.
No, this is good game that you can use. Don't be confused. Let them know where they can find you, find more information, please. I'll have links in the description.
Actually, where they can find me, my address is 2100 45th Street, Suite A4, West Palm Beach, Florida, 33407. That's the zip code. Our phone number here is 561-320-0053. That's for my training center, for my home care. You can find us the same address. We are the same address, except the phone is different. It's 561-888-9443. Also, you can go to GraceHomeCareFL.com, or you can go to GraceTrainingCenter.com.
You guys have gotten the game. Thank you for listening. If you are listening, majority of you are, go over to the YouTube and see the nice smiles over there. Give a like, a comment, and make sure that you share this game. However you experience, it will change somebody's life. Be blessed, y'all.
Are you tired of the violence, tired of the injustice, police brutality, rampant discrimination, lack of gun control in this failed biosocioeconomic experiment called America? Or maybe you need a break from the relentless grind and want to regain control of your destiny, your wealth, your health, and your purpose. DiversifiedGame.com has the right course for you. Prepare for my first trip to Africa. Looking to reconnect with your roots, start a new business, or just a fresh start. Africa, aka the motherland, is waiting. Don't let the Chinese and the Mzungus have the fun and also take over the motherland. From Cairo to Mombasa, from Dakar to Cape Town, Africa has something for everyone, from business opportunities to the most amazing people, safety, leisure, and landscapes. The opportunities abound. It is time for the diaspora to reconnect with their roots. Time to reconnect with the birthplace of humanity. Africa is the last frontier. Get your head in the game and reclaim your legacy. The writing is on the wall. Babylon is falling. Give up the stress, grind, and violence inflicted on our people on this continent and prepare for a journey of restoration enjoyed by connecting with the land of your ancestors. Check out our new course and kick off your adventure at diversifiedgame.com.